Any questions on the shark bite before we move on? If not, reminder, if you have not finished your test, you have until the 22nd, so a few weeks from now, to get that done. Otherwise, I'm grading it as is. You'll have to retake. So if your name is on that board, if you didn't see that last class, make sure that you get that test done. If you said you wanted to retake, come see me before after school. Come get that done as soon as possible. You could retake this week if you get everything done. So last class we talked about factoring by greatest common factor, taking out what they have in common, variables and numbers out of everything and kind of writing it in factored form. Today we're going to take that a step further. So everyone should have these notes in front of them. So today we are factoring by grouping. When we factor by grouping, we're basically finding the GCF but doing it multiple times. The only time we can factor by grouping is if there's 4 terms. So if you don't see 4 terms, grouping should not be in your head. But if you see 4 terms, light bulb should go off, bell should go off, grouping is what you're doing. All right, so we're going to do this example together and then do a few problems and then any you guys want to see. Okay, so in this example, there are 4 terms. Notice that none of them are like terms, so they can't be combined. Split it down the middle or like group it so that the first 2 go together, the last 2 go together. Whatever the symbol of the third term is goes with the second set of numbers. Then we're looking for the GCF of both sides separately. They may be the same, but usually they're not. So if you need those notes from last class, take them out so you remember. I know it's been like 5 days. But from these 2, what do they have in common? X to the third and 7x squared. Do they both have a 7?
They both have x's.
They both have x's. How many x's do they both have in common?
2.
At least 2. They both don't have 3 because this one doesn't have 3. So our GCF for that would be x squared. Remember, when we find that greatest common factor, we're dividing it out, but not really because we're still leaving it and just writing what's left. So if we divided both of these by x squared, and remember you can do this, the dividing part, to actually write it is not necessary, what would be left? X plus 7. Alright, so that's for the first part. Then we're going to do the same thing on the second half. Whatever this sign is, you're going to bring it down. And what would the GCF, or what do those 2 things have in common? 2x and 14. 2. You can divide both by 2, so that would be part of your GCF. If we divide them both by 2, what would be left? Right? So notice that the insides, what's in the parentheses, are exactly the same. That's what you want. If they're not the same, you did something wrong or factored out the wrong thing or maybe didn't factor out high enough. Right? Then what happens is we take the things on the outside, put them together in a set of parentheses. And the things on the inside are really 2 sets of the same thing, so we're just going to write it once. So our factors for this entire thing would be x squared plus 2 and x plus 7. Then if you wanted to check yourself, you could distribute it back out and see if it worked. So this says use FOIL. There are different ways to do this, but FOIL is first, outer, inner, last. So the first terms would be x squared and x. If we multiply those together, remember we're adding our exponents, so that would give us x to the third. I'm going to change these colors so you actually see what I'm looking at. The outer would be x squared and 7. If we multiply those together, we would get what? Yes. The inner terms would be 2 and x. If we multiply those together, we would get what? 2x. And then the last terms would be 2 and 7, so 14. So if we look at this and compare it to the original, x to the third plus 7x squared plus 2x plus 14. So that matches, so we know we did this right. Before we continue to do some more, what questions do we have right now? I just want to check something really fast. Alright, so let's try number 1, and then we'll kind of jump around. So again, split it down the middle. We're going to find the GCF of the first two. What do these first two have in common? Yes, and how many? Okay, 2 x's. Do they have anything else in common? The highest number you can divide out of both. 3. So 3x squared would be your GCF. I'm going to write this down here. So if you wanted to divide, you still can. You don't have to show this process still. If we divided both of those by 3x squared, what would be left? X plus not 3. 5. But you were close. Okay. Then take this negative, bring it down. What do the last two have in common? Mm-hmm. So here we're really dividing each by -2. So your signs are going to change. What would be left? X plus 5. You can almost assume that it should be the same, but also don't assume. Check and make sure that it's actually the same by dividing it. Right? So our insides are the same, so that's going to be one of our factors. The order in which you write this does not matter, whether you put this one first or the other one first. And then what would the other one be? So that's one of them. What's the other one? Look at your things on the outsides. X squared. Missing and something.
3 -2.
Minus 2. Again, if you wanted to distribute it out, you could. Really quickly, I'm going to do that, but I'm not going to do it for every single one. Right, so x times 3x squared would be 3x to the third. X times negative 2 is negative 2x. 5 times 3x squared is 15x squared. And this is negative 10. So it's not in the right order, but all the things are there. The 3x to the third minus 2x plus 15x squared minus 10. The order doesn't matter as long as they're all there. So that did work. Questions so far?
Miss North. Okay. I don't understand what's going on.
Okay. At which part did you get lost?
As soon as you started talking. I'm just gonna be honest.
So let's start another one.
I don't get, I was trying to
She's being
understand.
honest.
I was trying to understand, but then he said, okay, for the problem, he said, what is the factor of 3x and 15? I don't know how you got 2.
Here?
No, in the beginning.
Oh, the very first one.
Yeah.
Here?
Yeah.
How we got 2 here?
Yeah.
Because we can divide both of these by 2.
What did you say?
We can divide both of these by 2. And that's the highest thing we can divide out of both. So, going back to what we did last class, the factors of 2 are what? 1 and 2. Okay. The factors of 14 are what?
7.
4. What is the highest number they both share? 2. So if you don't know your factors, you're going to be doing this or the calculator stuff for every problem.
Okay, can you just go over a whole new problem?
We are about to do that, yes.
Okay.
Okay. Pick the next one.
Okay, can you do 4?
Sure. Okay. So first step, split it in half. Look for what these two have in common.
What to? X and 4?
X to the fourth and 4x to the third. This is not just a Carolina problem. Everyone can answer.
know which one is it.
So when you split it in half, you're just looking at the first 2 and then the last 2. But I don't know if that answered your
But how do
question.
you know that?
If you have x4 and x3, you can only share 3.
So look at the lowest exponent.
Oh, I see.
If I were to write this out, this is x to the fourth.
Oh, yeah.
This one is x to the third. How many x's do they have in common?
3.
3, right. Which is why it was x to the third.
Oh, okay. That right there makes sense.
Okay. X to the third was correct. So then we're dividing both of the terms by x to the third.
X plus 4.
So here, if there were 4 and we're taking 3 out, there's just 1 left. Both of these would cancel, just leaving 4. Carolina, you with me so far?
Hold on.
Wait.
Wait, why is it x plus 4?
Yes. Why is it x plus 4?
Yeah.
Because here we had 4 x's. We took out 3 of them.
Okay.
So there's only 1 left.
Okay, so it's an x.
Correct. Then for this one, 4x to the third, the 3 x's we took out. So there's just 4 left.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
Thank you.
take whatever sign that is, drop it down. What do these two have in common?
2.
2. Correct. So if we divided both of those by 2, what would be left? Say it louder. X plus 1. Correct. These are the same. So we know we did that part right. Then we just have to write the factors, which are what? Tegan. X to the third plus 2 is one of them. And the other?
X plus.
X plus 4. Remember, we are only writing this once, not twice.
Okay, this is the part I don't understand also.
Which part?
Like, what are we writing? Why are we writing that?
So everything that was on the outside becomes one of your factors.
Okay.
And then these are really the same thing written twice, so we only
So
write it
the
once.
third one. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Any other questions on that one?
Where did the 2 come from in the first red?
This one?
Yeah.
This is from the outsides. So look at the GCF that you factored out. The x to the third and the 2. Those get put together. Okay. Tegan?
Can you show our checkers?
Yes. Okay, so multiply the first together, x to the third and x. What would that give us? Remember, you're just adding the exponents. X to the fourth. Then you're multiplying the outer, so x to the third and 4. And that would give us to the third, 4x to the third.
Oh.
Then multiply the insides together. What would that give us? 2 times x. 2x. And then the last terms, 2 and 4, would be so x to the 4, 4x to the third, 2x, and that all works. There are questions on that one? Christina, did you have a question?
It's like, I knew it, I don't know what the question is.
Okay, at what part did you get confused?
Like, after, like, the second, like, there.
Okay, so writing the factors. Okay, so whatever numbers we divided, you put that into 1. Oh, after this.
Yeah.
So this is just to check it to see did we do this right.
Oh.
So we're multiplying it back out.
I'm so sorry.
So we multiply it back out.
Why would you do that?
Oh. So it's not.
So use this.
Oh.
The first terms, the outer terms, the inner terms, and the last terms. Okay. What is the next one we want to see? Go over
You just did
6.
I was gonna say 2.
You can go back into 2. Okay, so we'll do 2 and then 6. Find the GCF of the first 2.
Is it?
I think one of you
4?
said it. Yeah. 4 is the number. How many x's do they share?
1.
1. So if we're dividing by 4x, what would be left? What would be left? plus
Plus 3.
plus 3. What could we divide out, or what is the GCF of the last two?
It's just X.
Do they both have X? It's Y. There you go. If we divide both by Y, what's left?
2x.
Do the insides match? Yes. So what would our two factors be?
4x plus y. 2x plus 3.
So why do you have to do like that? So why is it 4x plus y and then switch plus 2?
You mean instead of putting this first?
Yeah, like, why do you have to take the
Outside things?
yeah?
The actual Y, I don't know. I just know it's the rule. I could look it up.
Oh, okay. So basically, for the ones in parentheses, they're always going to be the same, right?
They should be.
Okay. That makes sense. Well, makes sense.
Remember, our whole goal of this entire thing is to factor it down. Last time we were factoring it down, putting it in factored form by taking out the GCF. Notice that these are also prime. We can't take anything else out of those. So that is also still our goal. Okay. Other questions on that one? Let's do 6. Walk me through how I should start this. What would be the first step?
Split it. There we go.
Where?
Before the subtraction.
And that.
With this one?
No.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay. Then what?
See what they have in common.
See what has in common.
The first half.
So these? Okay. So what would that be?
x2.
So what do I do with that?
Write it down.
And then what?
Divide.
Divided how?
Minus 3x squared and x squared.
So just x squared, not the y?
X squared y.
Okay. Then what? You guys are on the right track.
No. It's x2, right? Parentheses.
Y plus 3.
No, we did not.
1 plus
use
3.
Like this?
Close parentheses.
it. Okay, now drop the minus.
Okay.
And you gotta divide the by 7.
Okay, so like how we did here, divided by 7?
Yeah.
You gotta write down the 7.
Where?
After subtraction.
Okay.
They have y, one y in common. So
Okay.
7y.
7.
So put it here and here?
No. Oh, wait. Yeah.
Okay.
And then parentheses
Parenthesis where?
after the y.
Which y are you talking about?
7 1.
7y.
This one?
Yeah.
The only 7 1 on there.
There's 3.
Yo, no.
What?
Should we divide by -7?
Say that one more time.
Should we divide by -7?
You guys tell me.
Why would there be a?
Wait,
Wouldn't it be minus 21?
it's just y,
Alright,
another y.
so that's
right?
gonna be 1.
What?
Okay, hold on.
Bro, no.
So
It'd be y minus
21.
hold on.
Negative 3?
Tegan asked,
You're dividing it by
should we
7.
be dividing by a
You need a
negative
relax,
7
you got
here?
attitude.
Yeah. Why?
I'm glad you finally understand unit
Negative
inequality.
7 on top.
Okay. So these should all be negative. Okay. So if we're dividing by -7y, then what?
Y negative 3.
Y minus
I put that here. Okay. And then what? Okay. And then what?
And then don't we take our factors?
What does that mean?
X2 minus 7y. I don't know the next one.
Y plus 3.
Why is it plus 3?
This is the correct.
The other one has y minus 3.
Y minus. Oh, shit.
Yo, shut up!
It's okay. So is something wrong?
Yeah, there's something wrong. We didn't do something right.
Divided by 7.
a negative minus a negative positive. I mean, negative is divided by multiplied by. So it would be y plus 3, right?
So this should be plus.
Or the 7 y. Yes, because the negative 21.
Yeah, it should be y plus 3.
Okay.
Oh.
Do we agree with that?
Mhm.
Okay.
So wouldn't it be y plus 3 for the next?
Like this?
Yeah.
So that's it?
Multiply.
Parentheses where?
Around y plus 3 and then x squared divided by this.
Okay. And then Chris?
Multiply x squared by y and 3.
X.
X
Sorry.
squared was-
You said y and 3?
Individually. X squared times multiplied by y.
Like, okay. Multiply those to get.
X squared what? X goes on squared or 3x squared.
But I don't understand what we're doing right now.
What are we doing next?
What are we supposed to do after we break the factors out? What do we do after that?
Multiply by 3, right?
Multiply what by 3?
X squared.
Then you,
Why would we do that?
then you add 3x
Multiply
squared.
by 1 squared.
3x squared. Okay.
Oh,
Just like a pattern.
y plus 2.
And then
Are we done?
Then you do the -7. You
Do
do the
what
same
with it?
thing. Same thing with -7.
yeah, negative 7.
Negative
Okay.
7
Times.
times y equals negative 7.
Y squared.
Okay. And then the same thing with the 3?
Yeah. Negative 7. Wait, multiply it 7. Negative 21.
Like that?
Yeah. Or no.
That is not
7 negative
something.
21 what?
Okay. So what does this tell us?
That's correct.
That we did it right.
We know we did it right by just looking at it.
We can compare it to the equation from
Okay. So if they're the same then?
yeah, that's correct.
That last step is not something you have to do. You can if you want to. So don't feel like you have to do that part. You can stop here.
Thank the Lord. I'm not trying to learn that extra 7.
It's really hard not to help you guys when we do that. But I have to play dumb, so.
Why do we need to learn this?
We should try a different unit.
What
Factoring is
are
not
good
why does
reasons to factor? Remind me, and I'll look up good reasons to factor. I don't know off the top of my head right now.
This is more than
This is factoring with
I don't know if you need that here, but sure. Okay, I'm gonna do 7 because there's something specific about it. Right, so if we start 7, we split it down the middle. What's the GCF of the first two?
Squared 2.
You said x squared,
Yeah.
and you said 2.
No, 25.
Can you divide that by 2?
Divided by 5.
No.
5.
No.
There you go. So if we divide that by 5, what would be left? 5x squared. What would be left?
Wait, where? 10. Oh, 5 is
You can split it 3
So we're dividing this.
Oh, we're dividing.
Guys, listen. If we're dividing by 5x squared, what would be left?
2.
5, right?
2x 5 minus 5. Okay. And then plus, what would we divide out of this?
2.
So we divide out 2, what's left? 2x
-5.
minus 5. So what would our factors be?
5x squared plus 2. 2x minus 5.
Okay. So I was actually thinking this was different. But let's say this was, I'm going to rewrite it, but change it. If you don't have space to write this on here, flip it over. Yeah. On either on the back or on the back of that page. Write this problem. And let's do it again. So we know this first part's going to be the same. So I just changed the 4 to a 15. What would the GCF of the second two be? 15 minus 10 mass, so that should be by 5. One, this was somewhat of a bad example because the insides don't match. We're disregarding that part. If you got something where something happened and one of your factors you could divide out again. So we're going to disregard this part because I just made this up and that clearly didn't work. But this part here, if one of your factors look like this, is this prime, or can you take something else out of it?
Divided by 5.
You can divide it by 5, which means this had a GCF that we missed at the beginning. So we could have looked here and said, oh, all of these are divisible by 5, so let's start with that. If we divide them all by 5, this would change to 2x to the third minus 5x squared plus 3x minus 2. It would change the entire problem. So always be on the lookout for a GCF first. Again, it doesn't matter if you find it later as long as you eventually take it out. Cam, Aiden, Christina, I need you guys to pay attention. Great, questions on that? On the next page, are there any we want to see, go over, have questions on? 10. Sure. Four, 10. Split it down the middle. What is the GCF of the first two? Sorry, say that again.
A squared.
A squared. We're dividing out a squared. What's left? A plus b, correct? Plus, what is the GCF of the last two?
B.
We divide both by b. What's left?
A plus B.
A plus b. So what are our factors? Our factors. A squared plus B and A plus B. Sometimes they won't have numbers, but that's okay. Any others we want to see, go over, have questions about? Don't know if I have this practice. Say that one more time. You're talking about this plus sign? So we did break it down here, and that got brought down here. So yes, it does get brought down. Sometimes if you're dividing out a negative, that would change the whole problem. I was just looking to see if there were any on the practice page. Right, look really fast on the very last practice page to see if there are any you want to see, go over, have questions on. Three and 7. I have to pull it up, but yes. Oh, I was like, where'd the thing go? Come on. Cam, did you figure out which one you wanted, or? Okay. So just 3. Any others? Say that again. Okay, so split it down the middle, find your GCF of both sides. What would the first one be? 3. 3, do they have variables in common? X, how many X's? Yes. So we're dividing both of those by 3x squared. What's left? Minus 5, correct. And then bring down the minus. What is the GCF of the last two? 2. Yeah, so the minus is going to make it a -2, so that's what we would be dividing both by. So the signs are going to change. What would be left?
No, -5.
Minus 5. And then our factors would be what? Which part? So the outside's going 1 and the insides are basically the same, so they are 1. Okay. Other questions, concerns, confusion we want to clear up before I let you practice? So when we're writing it like this, we're not simplifying it or solving it. We're trying to get it completely factored out to find these 2 answers. To find the 2 things that would multiply to get this. All right. second. So any other questions? Okay. You do not have a Khan Academy on this, but I would say for practice, you can keep working on the problems in your notes. If you want more practice, there's a Delta Math you can go and find and do that. Or go back and do the practice from last class. But I would say if you haven't done your Khan Academy, make sure you do that